Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you for a second. I don't think you're ready for the next phase of online tutoring. And I don't think most online tutors running meta ads right now are ready for it either. You see, the game is gonna change very, very fast. And what worked 6 months ago is already getting kind of shaky, or even worse, not working at all anymore. But the good news is this doesn't have to be a death sentence for your client acquisition. You can be one of the very few who actually see this coming and adapts it early. Now, if you're wondering why you should even listen to me, you see, we are in the trenches of tutoring ads every single day. We currently manage hundreds of campaigns and we've already spent multiple 6 figures on tutoring ads. We've tested and helped multiple tutors go from 0 to making their first 10K a month, and we even scaled multiple tutoring businesses from 15K to 40, 70, even 200 grand a month. So in this video, I'm gonna break down the 6 biggest shifts happening right now for tutors running meta ads and how you can keep getting qualified parents, keep your CPL healthy, most importantly, scale in 2026. I break down strategies like this every single week for tutors and tutoring centers on this channel. So if you're not already, make sure to subscribe if you want to grow your tutoring business. Okay, now let's jump into the video. Most of you don't know this, but 8 months ago, something shifted massively in how Facebook actually delivers and sees ads. They implemented something called the Andromeda update. This is changing how ads get delivered behind the scenes. Your targeting skills are getting less and less valuable, and the gap is widening. Tutors who will actually adapt to broad and creative-driven delivery are gonna keep scaling, and everybody else is gonna start blaming Meta, blaming the economy, or blaming parents are broke now for some reason. Creative diversity is now the #1 performance lever when it comes to Meta Andromeda. You see, Andromeda rewards accounts that actually give Meta more variety so that Meta can match to different people at different moments. You see, multiple sources in the Meta ads ecosystem are pointing to the same thing. Creative diversity and volume is the new edge. Now, if you don't know exactly what I'm talking about, let me make this very, very simple. If you're running 3 ads and you've been running these same 3 ads for the past 4 months and the results aren't there, that's because you're running 3 ads. You need to start diversifying. You need to give Meta the variety to actually perform. This approach, by the way, never historically worked at all. I'm surprised you can even run profitable ads this way, but it's gonna get worse and worse as time goes on. There's a lot more content out there nowadays, a lot more ads, and people with more ads, more diversity always win. The second thing most people don't understand is that simpler account structure beats complex systems. A lot of tutors think that complexity leads to results, but Andromeda is pushing Meta again towards simpler structures where the system can actually learn faster. The problem is when you split budgets across too many ad sets, you choke learning, you fragment the data, and you get inconsistent results, which inevitably makes you want to start tweaking daily, which makes it even worse. To fix this, use fewer campaigns, fewer ad sets, more creatives inside the winners, okay? I know I said we want more creative testing and now I'm telling you fewer campaigns and fewer ad sets. Yes, but more creatives inside the actual ad sets, okay? That's the difference. And you wanna separate the testing and scaling so that you're not constantly resetting the learning. You see, whenever you make changes to an ad set or a campaign, it puts it back into the learning phase and you effectively start almost from 0. Yes, the ad set are gonna have some historical data, but every single time you reset it, you add a creative, you are effectively throwing it back 10 steps, okay? Avoid this by having separate testing and separate scaling ad sets and campaigns. The third thing you need to understand is that qualified parents will get rarer and fewer in between unless you actually fix your funnel. Now, this is actually a tutoring specific problem. Meta will happily find you leads, but they won't necessarily be buyers. And we see this constantly with tutors complaining about broke students, no-shows, parents who ghost. You see, Andromeda makes this more intense because Meta is now optimizing for delivery at scale. So if your funnel doesn't filter these people, the algorithm learns the wrong lesson. You see, you're giving Meta essentially like dopamine for every single lead. So Meta is gonna wanna give you more of these leads. But if those leads are not converting into sales, you are training the algorithm on the wrong things, and the algorithm will only give you more of these people. And it's extremely important that you catch this as fast as possible. The moment you start getting bad leads, you need to change something, because the longer this goes on, the more you train your specific ad account, your ad set, and your campaign on the fact that this is supposed to be a good lead, even though you know they aren't converting. Facebook doesn't know that, okay? So to fix this, you need to optimize for book calls, not just leads. And you also want to have pre-call qualification. Make sure that your booking page does the heavy lifting with proof and positioning. You want to qualify people with questions like, are you just looking for some free resources, or are you actually in a stage where you want to invest in getting professional help with this? Another thing that massively impacts performance is proof and positioning. You see, parents have never actually wanted tutoring, okay? They want results, certainty, and a plan. So keeping in mind that Meta Andromeda is actually optimizing for engagement signals, your generic math tutoring available ads are gonna keep performing worse and worse. What you need to do is sell a transformation, not your time. When you think about what people want, they want a better score for their kid. Nobody cares about tutoring. Sorry to break it to you, nobody goes to sleep, oh, I wish I had more tutoring hours. No, what do they think? They think, oh, I wish my kid was able to get to uni. Oh, I wish my kid was able to score good on the SAT. Oh, I wish my kid was able to get a good score on the A levels, GCSEs, 11 plus, whatever you teach. That's what people want. So for the love of God, please stop selling tutoring hours, because nobody wants this. And not only do you want to sell them the outcome, you also want to stack proof aggressively, right? You want to bombard them with as much proof as possible so that they see that this is basically an inevitable result as long as they work with you. And one thing that I see established tutors doing is that they have one bad day and then they start running around like a headless chicken. They start changing everything, new audiences, new objectives, new creatives, new copy. Pause, unpause the ads, duplicate the ads, panic, stop it. This is the exact behavior that kills learning. Remember what we mentioned before, every time you tweak the ad, you put it back into the learning phase. You force Facebook to basically start again from almost zero. And in an automated environment, which Meta Andromeda is, by the way, this is even more destructive. This links directly to the belief that we see all the time. I need to know what's happening, or I'll just do it myself. Let me test this first. What you actually need to do is set a fixed testing window. For example, for our clients and for our own ads as well, we have a 72-hour window that is the minimum required window before we start making any changes. You need to use clear stop loss rules so that you don't emotionally edit ads and make bad decisions. And most importantly, you probably don't track any of your numbers. You don't know what the CPL is, you don't know what the cost per call is, you don't know what the show up rate is, you don't know what the specific conversions are between each step, how many leads become a call, how many calls show up, how many calls close, how many calls close on the follow-up call. You probably don't know all this. So how exactly are you supposed to optimize something where you don't even know what it is? So please, for the love of God, at least start tracking the basics. How many book calls? What's the show up rate? What's the close rate? What's the cost per acquisition? And what's the ROI? Okay, those are the minimum bare bones things that you need to be tracking. If you don't track this and you don't have it displayed somewhere very clearly, when you can literally just open up your laptop and in 10 seconds you know exactly what the CAC is, what the show up rates are, what all the stats are that I just mentioned. If you don't have that, then you are making decisions blindly. And lastly, tutors who actually win with Andromeda are writing for the algorithm. Meta is getting better at understanding creative, context, and intent signals at delivery time. So what you need to do is stop being broad on your promise, stop hiding your mechanism, and make every ad pass the parent test. Would a serious parent feel understood in 3 seconds? If not, then you need to change your ad. You need to make sure you convey to them exactly what result you're gonna get them, on what exam, at what level, if you don't have a specific exam, what subject, and exactly what benefit they're gonna get after getting a good score on that exam. But at the end of the day, tutoring ads aren't dying themselves. It's just the old way of running them is kind of coming to an end. As you probably know, advertising costs only ever go up. That's because there's always going to be more competition, more people want to make money. The bar keeps getting raised higher and higher, which ultimately means fewer tutors will get above that bar and actually get a good ROAS. And that's exactly why if you adapt to Andromeda early, you simplify, you diversify your creatives, and you tighten your funnel, and you go outcome first, you can still dominate while everybody else is sitting there confused as to why their once great ads have suddenly stopped working. And if you're an established tutor or a tutoring center running ads and would want me and my team to audit your current ad strategy, there is a link in the description of this video. You can book a free strategy call and we will map out exactly what needs to be changed for your tutoring field.